before the shooter in the Virginia Tech massacre was identified, blame was already being pointed in one direction, on video games. And it begs the question, do violent video games really play a role in tragedies like the one at Virginia Tech? Well, let's ask Jack Thompson. He represented the families of the girls who were slain at the Paducah school back in December 1997. Good morning to you, Jack.
Good morning.
What do you think? Do you think video games contributed to the violence like what we saw happen at Virginia Tech?
I have no doubt. Until Monday, the worst school shooting in world history was in Erfurt, Germany, by Robert Steinhauser, who killed 16, and then himself. The law enforcement people in Germany found that he trained himself on the amazingly popular, very violent Counterstrike. I was on TV, national news Monday, talking about that shooting and that particular game. We didn't even know who Cho was at that time. It then developed about 30 hours later that his high school acquaintances said that Cho was massively immersed in the game of all things Counter-Strike and a fan of violent video games generally. The law enforcement has found over and over and over again, Paducah, Columbine, Santee, I could give you these names ad infinitum, that the perpetrators have been in fact rehearsed for these incidents on these games.
And Counter-Strike, can you give me some details about this particular game, why it's so violent, why you find it so disturbing?
Well, it's a commando terrorism, counterterrorism game. The idea is to blow away as many people as you can in as short a period of time with as many different weapons as possible. The military uses interactive media, video games, to train their soldiers in two regards: to suppress the inhibition to kill, and to also give them tactical means by which to plan and rehearse killing people, which is of course what the military is supposed to do. But when you dump this type of technology outside any ethical construct into the heads of teenagers, it basically can have behavioral consequences. The American Psychological Association found that in a very important study in 2005.
But you know, teenagers play video games.
Oh, sure they do. Not everyone who smokes gets lung cancer, though, and no one would deny the link between the two. The point is there's a continuum of risk as to certain individuals, and we know that Cho was at the far end of that risk continuum. We also know that not all kids act out in a Columbine, or now unfortunately the word VTech fashion, but what you have is these incidents on the margin with kids there who are at risk, and Cho got started at this when he was a teen, training on a game, and now we know that the long-term effects of these particularly violent games are in fact long-term and can crop out in a situation like this.
I do want to get your response to a statement. This is from Jason Della Rocca. He is the executive director of the International Game Developers Association. Here's his quote. It's so sad, these massacre chasers, they're worse than ambulance chasers. They're waiting for these things to happen so they can jump on their soapbox. What's your response to that?
Well, that's like saying that the people who were warning that 9/11 was coming and that we should be more concerned about terrorists when they were put on TV to say, here's what we've got to do, were supposedly chasing terrorist attacks. What's really sad is people like this idiot, and I use that term advisedly, who thinks that anyone who's concerned about the public safety, who has gotten this right over and over and over again. I'm no genius, I've just connected the dots, but people like him are paid not to connect the dots and to go after people like me who have been sounding this alarm since 1999. I was on your affiliated major network, NBC, a week before Columbine, warning and saying to Matt Lauer, because of what happened in Paducah, that we're going to have more school shootings by kids who train on the game Doom, who are immersed in the movie Doom, and darned if it didn't happen 1 week later. Klebold and Harris trained on the game Doom, said they did. They made a version of the Basketball Diaries. They were so enamored of it. So this jackass who would say to you and to the American people that I'm chasing an ambulance. I've sat in rooms with people whose loved ones are now in the ground. I'm trying to save lives, and I'm not going to be embarrassed about it.
All right, clearly on a campaign. We appreciate your sharing, Attorney Jack Thompson.
You bet.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.